Hi, I thought I'd just take a moment to hop online and have a quick chat with you because I've been a little bit quiet maybe over the last few days, week, and I didn't want you to think that in the light of everything that's going on in the world that I was ignoring it. Far from it. I care very much about what's going on, and I care very much about all of you and all my loved ones. And I wanted to have a bit more of a considered approach and a Zentangle approach to what I wanted to say. And really, it was in relation to Zentangle and in specifically the Zentangle method and what we do. I mean, we all love creating and we love sort of being able to draw these beautiful images. The Zentangle method has 8 basic steps. Rick and Maria, when they wrote the Zentangle method or created it with 8 basic steps. And yes, it's all about art and beautiful images and things, but actually the first step of the Zentangle method is gratitude. And just a little, I'm just going to sort of sidestep a little bit here in that for those of you that haven't taken a class with a Zentangle teacher, I really urge you to take an introduction class with a Zentangle teacher, or at least read up about the Zentangle method, because that is key to you actually enjoying what you draw and enjoying the whole process of Zentangle. And you can find Zentangle, a whole list of the Zentangle teachers on the main Zentangle website, zentangle.com, and they've got a list of Zentangle teachers worldwide. If you find that you haven't got a Zentangle teacher near to you, then many of us teach online classes for beginners and beyond. So seek out some of us and we'll be able to point you in the right direction. But I would urge you to get, to just have that first class, because that will save you hours of faffing around and worry and all the rest of it. Anyway, let me get back to what I was saying. Zentangle method, first basic step is gratitude. And that is key to Zentangle, but it tends to be the step that gets overlooked. It's the step that is like, well, it's not art, it's not drawing, but it was inspired of Rick and Maria to put gratitude as the first basic step. I will refer to some notes that I've got here because I can't remember everything. Surprisingly, I know it's a surprise, but I can't remember everything. I've been trying very hard for the last 2 or 3 years to incorporate gratitude into my life. Sometimes it's easier than other times. Sometimes it's quite difficult for me. But it's becoming easier. And by gratitude, I don't mean that it has to be big things. It doesn't have to be being grateful for a big house, a big fast car, lots of money. It's about the little things. And I think these days, in the light of what's going on in the world at the moment, we really need to consider making gratitude something that we make part of our life as a regular habit. I'll just refer to something that I found out when I was reading up about gratitude. And in 2015, in the journal, The Scientific American, so it was a scientifically based report, that it stated that out of the 24 major strengths that we have as humans, and that includes love and kindness and creativity, that actually gratitude, having a strength of gratitude and being grateful, was the best predictor of good relationships and well-being. That has something to say. Gratitude is the best predictor of having good relationships and a good well-being. And that's what I think, that's what we all want, to feel well and to have good relationships with everybody. And gratitude isn't just about having a warm fluffy feeling, a warm fuzzy feeling. It's about making a real sort of honest approach to our life and just recognizing what we do have. As humans, we are hardwired to focus on the negative, the negativity bias. It's been shown that if something is negative, then, you know, oh my gosh, this is going to go wrong, it's a disaster. We will focus on that. Just think of that in light of what's going on at the moment. And by focusing on a negative, that becomes bigger, and it creates more disharmony and anxiety within us. So if by focusing on something it gets bigger, and if we focus on the negative it gets bigger, what if we shift that and we focus it the other way and we focus on the positives? And I know sometimes it might be difficult to say, well, what are the positives? But there are lots of them. For example, I'll say my dog Maisie. She can be a real pain sometimes, and she woofs and she demands, and you know, I've got to vacuum up behind her and all the rest of it. But oh my gosh, I'm grateful for her, because she will give me cuddles, and she is company, and she can be funny, and I have to go out and have walks. I mean, I love walking anyway, but on a day like today, and we're meant to be in the spring, it's the middle of March in the UK, it's springtime, and this time last year we had nice sunshine and it was quite warm. I'll be honest, this year so far has been pretty rubbish in the UK. We've had a tremendous amount of rain and drizzle and lots of grey days. Yesterday was beautiful, today was back to grey and drizzle, but I went out for a walk with Maisie, and yes, I got wet, but it was apparent that spring is out there. There were the birds singing, and the bird song is just like that real feel-good factor that you get. I did see daffodils, wild daffodils, and I saw some little lambs running around in the fields, and just being grateful for those individual things, just taking those few seconds to go, oh yeah, that's lovely. That is a positive, that's a gratitude. And having a gratitude habit, being grateful, actually changes and develops neural pathways. It actually changes your brain for the positive. Now, that's got to be a good thing. You know, rather than making negative neural pathways, let's make positive neural pathways. And a gratitude is a good way of seeing, but it alters our gaze. It alters how we see the things out there. Life is still the same out there, but if we can see it with positivity and gratitude, it makes a huge difference. Gratitude empowers us to take charge of our emotional lives, and as a consequence of that, our bodies reap the benefits. Rather than being anxious and tight and worried and fretful, we can just relax a little bit. You know, I'm not saying it happens overnight. I'm not saying like it's a magic wand, but just a little bit of positivity makes so much difference. And having that gratitude at the beginning of a Zentangle practice makes a huge difference. I'll just give you a couple of figures. Having a regular gratitude habit is shown to reduce the stress hormones that are released when we're under stress by 23%. 23%, that's massive. That's nearly a quarter. I mean, it's when I read that figure, I was like, really? But no, it comes from scientific research papers. It's related to a 10% improvement in sleep quality, which is always a good thing, and a 19% reduction in depression levels. So actually sort of saying every day, right, you know, I'm just going to set aside a couple of minutes, and not even that, to be grateful, to just go, what am I grateful for? 3 things, just 3 things, and writing them down. So the writing them down is quite key, because they actually become real then. They're not just little thoughts, not, no, I've got a glass of water here. I'm really glad I've got water, and I'm really grateful I can turn the tap on and I can get beautiful water. Many people in the world can't. Excuse me. So Rick and Maria making gratitude the first step of the Zentangle method is brilliant, because it supports us. If we're supported and we're well, the people we come into contact with and our loved ones can benefit from that as well. So this is not a professional video, as you can tell. It's Jo doing her thing, and I just wanted to sort of share something with you. No. Okay, so we've got your little bijou tile. I've turned this round, and we've got a bijou tile, and what you're going to use is you're going to use a Micron 01, Zentangle pencil, and a tortillon. So nothing complicated, nothing too fancy. And with gratitude, so I was focusing and talking about gratitude. And if you remember in the other video, or in the earlier video, I mentioned that writing a gratitude down makes it real, and it will stick in your mind, and it will strengthen those development of those neural pathways, those positive neural pathways. So what I'm going to do, first thing, take my pencil, and I'm going to draw 2 lines, and I'm going to draw a line here, and I'm going to draw a line there. So I've sort of done them on an angle. Okay, so I've then got 2 lines. In between those 2 lines, I'm going to write something, one of my gratitudes, and you can choose any word or any combination of words that you want. And with my pen, I'm going to write, and I'm going to write. And I honestly didn't think this before I started literally picked up my pen. I didn't know what I was going to write, and I'm going to write. I'm taking my time, as you do with Zentangle, and I have to be careful here because if I'm talking and writing at the same time, I'll spell this wrong. And I'm going to write springtime. Okay, so I just want you to choose a word that you like, that's your gratitude. It could be the name of something, it could be something you've done. Oh, see, I've missed out something there. I'm going to pop it in there. You wouldn't have known, would you, if I hadn't said? And there we are. Zentangle, no mistakes. And this isn't, you can take a little bit more time. I don't want to spend ages on this because I wanted this to be a not long video. Springtime. Okay, so it doesn't matter. You know, you can take time to do your lettering and things. So I've done springtime. I can then, I'm going to strengthen these lines along the bottom here. I'm going to do that. I'm going to aura next to it. Oops. Okay, and then on this bottom part, I'm going to do some prantam. And again, you probably won't believe this, but I actually had not planned this at all. Okay, I seriously had not planned this. This is real time. This is me thinking as I do it. You're probably thinking, oh yeah, she's thought springtime and then she's thought prantam, and I hadn't. Those of you who know me, several of you have said, oh, you know, do you think of these things beforehand? And no, I don't. It happens. So here I am. I'm just doing some little spiral, and I'm adding some weight on the inside. As you can see, on the inside of these prantam spirals, I'm adding a little bit of weight. Okay, and another lovely spiral here. And all the time I'm looking at my gratitude, grateful for springtime, for that word. So you can repeat it to yourself. You can have nice thoughts about springtime or your gratitude word. You know, whatever it is. And it's yours, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy, and you don't have to sit there thinking, oh no, you know, I've got to think up lots of fancy words. No, you haven't. And in fact, you can have the same gratitude every day. I missed off the weighting off that one. There. It's not a problem. If you're grateful, you know, for having fresh water out of your tap every day, and you want to be grateful for it, that's absolutely fine. There's nobody says that you've got to have new gratitudes every day, or they've got to be anything fancy, you know. And it could be, do you know, one of my things that I love. This sounds, I always said if I had a lot of money, the one thing I'd have would be fresh sheets on my bed every day. But then those sheets have got to be dried outside, so they've got that lovely fresh air feel and fresh air smell and things, and then that feels a little bit decadent, doesn't it? So I'm just going to keep adding these little printemps spirals in here all the time. I'm looking at my springtime word and I'm focusing on that. So focusing on something positive, something lovely, and that increases those wonderful positive neural pathways in our brain, and taking that moment to completely focus on ourselves. Okay, that's not a bad thing. Step away from the chaos. Everything is going to be absolutely okay. Honestly, it is going to be okay. And the more of us that can adapt our thought processes to saying, do you know, this is going to be okay. We're all going to be fine. It's not the end of the world. And the less we focus on those negative thoughts, the more we think of, isn't it amazing how people are pulling together, communities are working together, and this isn't just local communities, it's the world community as well. And that's got to be a good thing for all of us. And okay, so I've popped in these. I've gone a bit wobbly, to be honest, but that's okay. It's actually late evening here and I've been trying to work with my stubborn internet all day and things, and then I can say, well, do you know, along here I'm going to do, I didn't know I was going to do another border along here, but I am, so I'm going to do another border along here. And with this one I'm just going to let me have a little thing. I'm going to add that bit in there and that bit in there because that completes there. And then on the top here, I'm going to pop in a sort of starburst grid. So I'm making a grid, and then I'm going to bring this round this way. And I'm just going to do floors. So floors, it's lovely. I'm going to put some little diamond shapes, just taking my time to pop these together, just on these little cross hatches. And I can see my springtime is there, and that's my lovely word. That's what I was grateful for today, springtime. And despite me saying that the weather in the UK has been a bit rubbish for the last 3 months, soggy, wet, lots of rain and lots of grey, there are signs that things are getting better, things are improving, things are getting warmer, the birds are out, the flowers are coming out. And that's a good thing. That's lovely. Okay, so I'm just going to do this here, this here. So what I would urge you all to do is, you could do this on a bigger tile and you could put several words in. There's nothing to stop you doing that at all. I have another version of this as well, which I might do on another video for you, which was actually introduced by another CCT, and I'm sorry I can't remember who it was, but I'm sure somebody will tell me. Okay, so that's all a little bit wonky and things, but shading, I'm just going to very quickly shade this. I'm going to run my pencil along the edge of that border there, and with my tortillon I'm going to soften that down. Okay, just with these tiny little movements of the tortillon. So I've made it darker along the top. I'm going to do the same along that bottom edge. You'll see that I've turned my tile, so I do it that way. And as I said, you can take a little bit more time to do your lettering if you want. Really enjoy it, really focus on that positive, that gratitude, that well-being feeling, that well-being word. Okay, so I'm adding some shade or some graphite around these printemps spirals, which will just give them a little bit of definition. I'm not going into detail about where to shade and things, because this would be a long video. I do a whole class on shading, how you can make shading really work for you, and it's quite fun. So do take a look at those if you wanted to know a little bit more about shading and how you can increase the layering look. I'm going to run another line just along underneath that border. That makes this one look like it's going underneath. That's the shading for my printemps, and then I'm going to run another pencil line along that top edge, just to soften it along that edge there. And I'm just going to go around these, and I'm not putting very much. You can sort of almost go I know they're no, they're not triangular, they're diamond shapes or square shapes, but I'm just, oh, and I can see I've missed one out there. It's okay, we can add it in, and just add that in. Add back to my my pen rather. Add that one in there, just nice and quickly, and pop a little bit of shade around that one as well. And there you have gratitude tile. So go away, go and pick some words, try and make a habit of being grateful every day, and I shall be lovely to see what you create. Bye.